Now this Nanoblock unboxing build is for all the dog lovers out there because we are building a Yamper from Pokémon Sword and Shield. Hey guys, Stormtrooper1 here! Welcome back to the channel guys, and welcome to my latest Nanoblock unboxing build where we are building Yamper from Pokémon Sword and Shield, the electric dog Pokémon that looks like a corgi. And this is one of the Nanoblock sets that I bought while I was in Japan, and honestly I just absolutely love dogs. I wish I could have one myself, but unfortunately due to my full-time job I won't have that the time to take care of one, but dog sitting I might be able to do every now and again. But enough about what I would love to do and whatnot. Let's actually get to the unboxing build, because we've got Yamper to build. So we're going to have quite a few brown and yellows, and we've also got some green and red as well as some nice greys as well. Ooh, what is that I've spotted in there? Anyway, doesn't look like it's going to affect the build that much. And we've got a nice little, instruction set where we need to find out how many of each brick we're going to need, which is perfect. And now I just need to get everything together for the build. Before I begin, I just want to let you guys know that I publish content throughout the week, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified on all my latest content. So with all the parts now sorted, we just need to do the introduction, which is the best part about any of my Nanoblock unboxing build videos. So let's start off with the yellows. So we've got at least 11 1x1s here. We have 7 1x2s right up here. 7 1x3s and 1x4s. Then for the 2x4s here, we've got 7 of these again, and 4 2x3s right here. Then for the L's, we've got 12 of these. We've got a dozen L's to go through. Now let's move on to the fur of Yamper. Next up, which is the light brown, we have got 6 2x2s right here. We have 10 2x3s and 9 2x4s. Then we have 4 1x1s, 4 1x2s right here. Then we've got at least 10 1x3s, followed by 5 1x4s, and 12 more L's. And you're going to be seeing a lot of these L bricks in the future in the video, guys. So don't be nervous about how many of them there are in this build whatsoever. Next up, let's move on to the white. We have 7 2x2s here. 8 2x3s and 7 2x4s. Then we have 3 1x2s right here. For the 1x3s, we've got 6 of these, and then 9 1x4s, and 6 white L's right here. Lime greens, we have 10 L's, 10 1x2s, and 6 1x1s. Then we've got, for the tongue of Yamper, we've got a 2x3 and 2 1x2s, followed by 2 light grey 1x1s here to make up the eyes. So now that you're fully introduced with the parts of the build, I'm now going to get started with the first step of the build, which will be step 1. Step 1 of the build is now completed, and yes, we've got the little display stand that I got while I was in Japan out here to help out with this build. So I began with this white 2x4 here in the vertical position as my foundation brick for this step. Then in the middle, right behind it, is a white 2x3, which is right here. Let me just see if I can pull this off. There it is. Luckily it's not in there securely. Then behind it, again, is another white 2x3 right here. So it's nice and easy. Then I've got 2 white L's where the gaps are filled in by the 2x4 that we've done at the beginning of the step with the foundation brick. Just to clarify, this one has the gap facing the southwest, and this one is the southeast. Then right behind each one of those, and then into the left and the right of the middle 2x3, at the front is 2 white 2x2s here and here. so that it helps to build the body of Yamper. Then we got 2 more white 2x3s in horizontal positions right here, so that it helps form the back of Yamper. Then right here in the back of the middle is 2 lime green 1x2s in horizontal positions. Then 2 more white L's where this gap is facing the northeast and this one is facing the northwest. So with step 1 now over and done with, it's a really simple build, step, but it also has a bit of stability to it. So with that over and done with, I can now move on to step 2 of the build, where we're going to be working on more on Yamper's body. So now we're done with step 2 of the build, and the display is on the side again for this. So don't worry about not being able to see it later, because we'll be using it at the end of this video. So we have started off with a white 1x4 right here, which kind of works as the foundation brick for this step. And then I kind of went from this brick to the left. So I began, then went on with another horizontal 2x4 here, and I had to make sure that there's at least a 2 peg gap away from the line of the 1x4s that we've done already. And then I placed another white 1x4, again in a horizontal position, right kind of in a similar line to what we did on the other side of the build. Then, this is kind of a Siamese step of the build. I started with the light brown L's, where this one has its gap facing southeast, and this one is facing southwest. And then right behind each one of those is 2 brown 2x2s here, and it's also in line with the 1x4s that we did in this step. Then I grabbed 2 light brown 2x3s and I placed them both in vertical positions, and right on top right here, so it kind of forms like a 2x6 for this step. Then behind those is another 2x3, one here and then one here, so that it helps with the body of Yamper. Then on both sides, so on the right side and the left side of each one of those 2x3s is a brown 2x2, one here and then one here. And then on top of each one of those is another brown L, where this one has the gap facing northeast, and this one is northwest. And then for the back here, on top of the lime greens that we did in step 1, are 2 yellow 1x2s, one here, and then one here. And then to fill in those gaps created by those bricks is a 1x1 lime green on each side. Now, we'll feel a little loose after this step, but don't worry, after step 3, we will have a bit more structural integrity to this model, and which is going to be in just a second. So we're now done with step 3 of the build, and we do have a bit more a bit of a stronger structural integrity to the model. So I began with a light brown 1x3 right here on the right of the model, and then I went to the left of it and then grabbed 2 yellow L's where both gaps are facing the southeast. I began with one here, and then I used the second L to fill in the gap of the first L. And once that was done, I placed a yellow 2x4 in a vertical position right here on the build. And then I kind of did the same again on the other side with 2 more yellow L's, but this time the gaps were facing the southwest. And then I placed another light brown 1x3 right here so that it all connects. Now, it doesn't really matter which way you do this part of the model. Any side that you want to start on is entirely up to you. But for me, it was a lot easier because I noticed that it was a lot more easier to notice the browns being covered by the other brown right here. Then I grabbed another brown 1x4 and placed it in a vertical position, and I put them over both the back yellow L's right here, so it kind of like forms a bridge over crater. Then I grabbed 2 more brown 1x4s and placed them right here on the side of Yamper's body, so that helps to form the legs of the Yamper. And then 2 more brown 1x3s so that they are linked over step 2's brown pieces. One here and one here. Then I grabbed 2 lime green L's, where this one has the gap facing the northwest and this one is northeast. And then to fill in those gaps of those lime green L's is a yellow 2x4, again in a vertical position, like we did at the front. So with that now over and done with, we can now move on to step 4 of the build, where we're going to build up more of the mane of Yamper. And of course the body. So we're now done with step 4 of the build, and we do have some of the electric mane for Yamper. So instead of starting out at the front for this step, I actually went to the back and then worked my way to the front of the model for this. So I began with the yellow 1x4 in the vertical position right here at the back, and then moved forward by placing 2 lime green L's, where this one has the gap facing southeast and this one is facing southwest. And I had to make sure that the gap, row of 2 in the horizontal position were in line of both ends of the yellow 1x4, so it kind of blends in together with step 3 right here and here. Then, to fill in the gaps of those lime green L's, I grabbed 2 1x2s and placed them in vertical positions, where this one is here and this one is here, so that it should look like that. Then I moved on to the brown 2x3s and placed them both in vertical positions, and of course made sure that they were in line with the lime green bricks that we did earlier. Then I grabbed 2 brown 2x2s and made sure that they were also in line with Yamper's body. Now if they do come off a little bit loose, don't worry, the next step should help keep everything together. So it should look like this, so that we're also carrying on with building the legs for Yamper as well. Then, of course, we grabbed 2 more brown 2x3s and placed one here and one here, again in a vertical position, so that we're also working on the outer parts of Yamper's legs. Then, for the mane of Yamper, and this is kind of like a Gemini build here, and so you can do it on start one side and then do the other later, but for me it doesn't really matter. Well, it didn't really matter that much, because all I did was grab a yellow 1x3 and place it at the very end and put it in line with the 2x3 in the vertical position, and make sure that the one on the right is also on the far right, and the same again with the left. Then to the left and the right respectively is 1 yellow 1x4 each, again in horizontal positions. Then at the very end, so that it helps to build the curve of Yamper's mane, is 2 2x4s, and I put them both in horizontal positions, so that it kind of resembles that of a mane. So, well, almost like a 4x4 if you will. So with step 4 now over and done with, I can now move on to step 5, where we're going to be building more on the body of Yamper. Step 5 of the build is now completed, and yes, we've got more of the electric mane sorted, well, built right here, as well as more of the body. And don't worry, we are getting closer and closer to ending the body build of this model. So I began with the yellow 1x4, and I did it in a vertical position at the very front to make sure that the bricks from step 4 are all connected. Then right in the middle is a 2x4 in a horizontal position, and you have to put it in the very middle of this 1x4 that we did out front. Otherwise, we won't be able to put on the yellow L's that we've done here and here, where the gap is facing northeast and northwest respectively, and their gaps are filled by more yellow 2x4s, also in horizontal positions, right here and here. Then we're sticking with the 2x4s, but instead of going into the yellow, we're going into the brown to help keep everything together with Yamper's body. One here and one here, again in horizontal positions. Then on top of each one of those is a 2x3 in brown, where they're both in vertical positions, and they are linked together, kind of like a 2x6 if you will. And of course they are in line with the brown 2x4s that we did earlier in this stage. Then at the back here is 2 lime green 1x2s, one here and then one here, and you have to make sure that they are in line with the 2x3 browns that we've done earlier. Then I grabbed 2 yellow L's, one here and one here, and of course the gaps are facing northwest and northeast respectively, and then 2 yellow 1x1s here and here. So that should be it for step 5, and we should be able to move on to step 6 of the build, where we're carrying on with more of the main and hopefully nearing the end of Yamper's body. Right, so step 6 is now over and done with, and yep, we are getting closer to the top of Yamper's body. There's just a few more steps that we have to do, but first, let me explain what we have to do in step 6. So we begin with another yellow 1x4 in a vertical position like we did in step 5. Then we grabbed a yellow, well, 2 yellow 2x3s and then put them together in a vertical position and then put them right on top of the 1x4 that we did here. And you have to make sure that they are at least, covering one, showing one peg from step 5 here, 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 and here. Otherwise, it's going to look a little bit inconsistent with the curved body of Yamper. Then we grab 2 yellow 1x3s and place them both in horizontal positions, one to the right and one to the left right here. And again, showing at least one yellow peg here and here. And of course, in line with the 2x4 that we did earlier. Then, for the rest of the body, we grabbed 2 brown 2x4s in horizontal positions and then place them at least one peg away from the 2x3s that we did earlier, and of course in line with the brown bricks that we did here and here. And then we grabbed 2 brown 1x1s so that they were in line with the right and left here of the model. Then for the lime green bricks, we've grabbed 2 L's and made sure that their gaps were filled with the brown 1x1s that we did earlier. And the L on the right is facing, well, the gap is facing southeast, and the one on the left is southwest. And then on top of each one of those lime green L's is a yellow L, well, 2 more yellow L's, one each. And this one is facing northwest, and this one is facing northeast. Then we've got a yellow 1x3 here on the right, and it has to be kind of in line with the yellow L, majority of it. And of course, linking to the green L that we did here. And of course, at least one gap peg away here. And then here on the left is a yellow 1x4, where it helps to form the tail of Yamper. And of course, at least one peg forward from the 1x3 that we did here on the right. So with step 6 over and done with, we can now move on to step 7, where it looks like we are at the top of Yamper's body. Step 7 of the build is completed, and it's a fairly easy step. Yep, but once you get the hang of things. So I began at the back again, and with a yellow 1x1 here on top of the 1x4 at the very end, so that it does form its tail. Then right here, I kind of used the 1x1 used that brick as sort of a guide brick to place my next brick, which was a lime green L, where the gap was facing the northwest, and then another one to its side where the gap was facing the northeast. And each one of those gaps is filled with another yellow 1x1 here and here. Then heading downwards to the front is a light brown 2x4, where it's in a vertical position to keep those 2 L's together and in line. Then right at the front is 2 more brown 2x4s, where they are in a horizontal position to make sure that it's kept well together to form Yamper's body. Then I grabbed 2 yellow L's, where this one has the gap facing the northeast and this one is northwest. And then 2 more yellow 1x1s, one here and one here, so that they are not linked to the L's or covering the gaps. So it kind of looks like a long L 1x3 right here. Then at the front is a white 1x4 on the right and the left, and you have to make sure that they are on the right side and the left side of the brown 2x4s that we did, so that they are in line with the pegs, and making sure that there is a 2x3 gap right here in between those two bricks. Then to the right and the left respectively is a white 1x3 here and here, so that it starts to form Yamper's head, which will be in step 8, because this one's really easy. All you need is a red 2x3 and a 1x2, and you put the 1x2 underneath the 2x3 so that it starts to form Yamper's tongue, and then you place it at the front here and make sure that it's in the middle of those white 1x4s that we did in step 7. And with that now completed, we can now move on to step 9 of the build, where we're going to be working on more of Yamper's head. Step 9 of the build is now completed, and it's a really easy step for two reasons. One, the tail, we're still working on that one. We just put on a yellow 1x2 right here, and you have to make sure that it's, the brick is facing away from the body itself. Then at the front, I started off with a red 1x2 and placed it in the vertical position and in the very middle of the 2x3 that we did in step 8. Then right behind each one of those is a white 1x4. We got 2 of those, so it kind of forms a sort of a 1x8 brick, if you will. And you have to make sure that it is forming Yamper's head as such. Then I placed 2 white 2x3s, one on the right and one on the left here, both in vertical positions, and of course making sure that they are away from the right peg here and the left peg here. So it kind of forms a 2x2 gap right in the middle of the head here. Then we place 2 yellow 2x3s next to each other in a vertical position, again kind of forming a 2x6 brick right here. Then at the back right here is a 1x4, so that it helps to build more of the mane of Yamper. And now I can get to work on step 10 of the build, and whilst I get to work on that, I just have this lovely little message to share with everybody. Do you like what you see on the screen? The link to the video will be down in the description below, so you can check it out for yourself. But for now, we're going back to the build. And don't forget guys, you can always catch my Twitch or Kick streams at 11 AM United Kingdom time on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, or Saturdays, depending on my availability. So if you want to become a follower on any one of those pages, head down into the video description below. The links to those channels will be there for everybody to join. So with that now out of the way, I just need to show you what I did for step 10 of the build. And I began with this another yellow 1x2 right here at the back, so that it forms more on the electric bolt of Yamper's tail. Then right here at the in the back for the head, I began with this white 1x2 where it's in connecting the yellow 2x3s that we've done in step 9. Then 2 more white 2x3s, so that it forms another 2x6 in the vertical position right in the middle of that 1x2, where this one will be 2 pegs to the left and 2 to the right. Then another white 1x3 on both sides right here and here, so it links the 1x4 and the 2x3 that we did on step 9. Then another 1x3 here and here, followed by a white 1x4 here, and then a white 2x4 right here, so that it forms a little 1x2 gap on for the head of Yamper. So that is it for step 10 of the build. We're done with the tail of Yamper. Now we can move on to carrying on with more of the head of the Pokemon on step 11. Step 11 of the build is now completed, and we are working on Yamper's cute little electric face. So I began with this yellow 1x2 in a vertical position at the very front to form its nose. Then I placed another white 1x2 right here to help put everything together. Then right here is two lime green 1x2s where they're sort of forming a 1x4, if you will. Then a yellow, well, two yellow 1x3s where they sort of form a 1x6 here. Just gotta make sure that they are nice and aligned perfectly, which is wonderful. Then right here on both ends is two brown L's where each gap, the gap on the right, it will be filled by the white L's. Goes here and here. Now on the right, the gaps are facing the northwest, and the left are facing the northeast. And the white L's gaps will be filled by a white 2x4 right here at the back, so that it forms more of Yamper's head. So with that now completed, we can now move on to step 12 of the build, where we're going to be working on more of Yamper's head and giving it some eyes. Step 12 is now completed, and yes, we've got the eyes for Yamper, these two light grey 1x1s here and here. But the first brick that I used for this step, which was my foundation brick, is the white 2x2, where it was aligned with the 1x2 that we did in the previous step. And of course, away from it, because we don't want Yamper to have a sort of a funny little head. Then I placed the light grey 1x1s over the light green 1x2s that we did in step 11. Then at the back, on the back row of the white 2x2 is two yellow 1x2s, both in vertical positions where they are sort of forming a 1x6, if you will. Then on the back here, in line with the brown L's that we did, is two 2x4s. Kind of forming a 2x8, if you will, for more of Yamper's head. Then we've got two brown 1x3s here at the on top of those, where it forms a 1x6, and you have to make sure that they're both at least one peg away from each end of the 2x4s, so that it forms more of Yamper's head, and to help keep in line with the 1x4 that we did place here at the back of the head. So with step 12 now completed, we can move on to the 13th step, where we're going to be working on more on Yamper's head. Step 13 of the build is now finished, and yep, we are getting close to the top of Yamper's head so that we can give it some ears soon. So I began with the white 2x4 and placed it in the horizontal position where the bottom half of that brick is over the white 2x2 that we did on the previous step, and of course heading backwards as well. Then on the back right here is another white 2x4 where it's in a vertical position, and that brick is in line with the in the middle of the 2x4 that we did at the front. You just have to make sure that it's at least one peg, that at least once a peg, one row of pegs, free on both sides, so that we can put on the brown 1x4s here and here. And then you just gotta make sure that the brown 1x4s are covering the light grey bricks that we've done as well. Then we grab two brown 1x2s, one here and one here, to make sure that it's also in line with Yamper's head. And then you grab two brown L's where the gaps are facing on the right, the southeast, and left, the southwest. And if you're gonna be thinking that, well, they're not gonna have any gaps, well, oh, you're right, because the gaps are filled by a light green 1x1 here and here, so that it helps to form more of Yamper's ears. So we can now move on to step 14 of the build, where we're going to be finishing off the top of Yamper's head and get to work on more of the ears. Step 14 of the build is now completed, and yes, Yamper's head is done, and yes, we've still got some more work to do on the ears. So, to begin with step 14, I grabbed the final 2x4 white brick here in a horizontal position and placed it in line with the 2x4 that we did in the 13th step. Then at the back here is a white 1x2 in a vertical position to create that curve for Yamper's head. Then on both sides, at the top here where it's at the top of the 2x4 that we've done, is a brown 1x3, both in vertical positions and also in line with the L's that we did on the 13th step. Then two brown 1x2s, but they are also in line with the 1x4s that we did in the last step. And then we got the last two green L's, where the gaps are facing the southeast and southwest respectively. So that is it for step 14, sorry. We just have step 15 to work on, and it looks like it's more of the ears. We're nearly done with the build. We're on the 15th step, and it is not long until the end of the video as well. So this is kind of like a Gemini step again for the ears, so it doesn't really matter which end of the model you begin with, but it's the same respectively. So on the right side, both sides, sorry, we begin with a yellow 1x1, where it is at the very end of the L's that we did in the previous step, and of course in line with the gaps. Then behind each one is a green 1x2, where the one, both in a vertical position, where the one on the right is of course one peg away to the right, and the one on the left is away to the left. And then on the back of each one is a brown L, where the gaps are filled by the green 1x2s that we've done, put on the model. Well, this one has the gap facing southeast, and this one is southwest. And then we place two more brown 1x1s here and here, so that it helps to make a more natural line for Yamper's ears. So that should be it for step 15. We can now go to step 16, where we're going to be finishing off, nearly finishing off the ears for Yamper. So step 16 is now over and done with, and yep, we are nearly done with the ears. So I began again with a yellow 1x1 and had to make sure that it was kind of in line with the 1x1 that we did in the previous step, but of course backwards, so it should look like this. Then a lime green 1x1 again, in the one on the right is to the right of the yellow 1x1 that we did, and the one on the left is to the left. Then behind each one of those ears is a brown 1x3, where it does have at least one peg free, to the left and the right. So it should normally look like this for the model. And with that, we can move on to step 17, where we're not going to stop the... I'm just going to show it to you on camera. You grab the two L's, the last two brown L's, and you place one over the yellow, and where the gap exposes the green L on both ears, so it should look like this. And then we can move on to underneath Yamper to give it its feet, its little paws. So we need to put on a white 2x2 on both ends, as such. Two for the front legs and two for the rear legs. And that should be it for Yamper. Boom. Did you like my little unboxing video? If you did, why not check out my other content right here? I have a nice little video for a Nanoblock set from a video game series, or I have a playlist right here for all of my past builds. And if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can help the channel grow, and ring the bell to get notified on my latest videos. Happy gaming, guys, and I'll see you at the next unboxing build.